Medical professionals of Reddit, what's the worst sex-related injury you've seen at your workplace? I used to work weekend night shifts. Had a younger girl come in one weekend. Despite her age, she had a hip replacement and it was dislocated. I put it back in and away she went. Next weekend, she's back again. Same thing. Third weekend in a row and there she is. Finally I ask what she's doing to dislocate her hip and she says her boyfriend keeps bending her leg back too far during sex. I told her to try different positions. Dentist here. In dental school definitely saw a girl with an inflamed palate that she was worried about an infection. Did some tests. Nothing looked infectious. Faculty member pulled us aside and was like, yeah, that's a bruise from deep throating. Might not be a major injury, but definitely memorable. Edit. And now my top rated comment is about overly rough blowjobs. To respond to a few comments, we actually saw this in oral pathology class. It can happen because of continuous trauma to the palate. Just like you could get a bruise on your arm with continuous hits even if they aren't too hard. I'd recommend swishing with a salt water rinse a couple times a day for a few days to help with swelling, and maybe take a break until it heals. Janitor heated petroleum jelly and injected it into his dick with a syringe. He was trying to make his dick bigger. He added more. Other janitors saw him and decided to do the same. So turns out with nowhere to go, petroleum jelly forms granulomas under the skin, which get infected. Word was the tip of his dick and the base wouldn't get hard anymore. Only the middle, and abscesses formed, resulting in what was described as the dick looking like maggots had bored tunnels through it. Janitor 1 was hospitalized for several weeks. As for Janitor 2, he ended up with several ulcerating wounds in his pelvic region. You could stick a finger in them. They were that big. Apparently injecting your dick with petroleum jelly is fairly common. Some girls have also attempted to inject their boobs so give themselves implants. It has led to deaths because bits and pieces of it can dislodge and travel to the lungs. Don't do it. Nothing worse than dildos, vibrators and other objects stuck where the sun don't shine. One chap did say that he likes sticking things up his ass, and that's fair enough. But the strange excuses are usually the most entertaining part of it. Worst genital injury was a guy who drilled his scrotum with a cordless drill doing DIY. Don't secure your workpiece between your knees if you want to be sure to keep both testicles. Gentlemen. Back in medical school I was on a surgery rotation with a classmate. Our first day we got split into groups. By chance. My first case was an appendectomy. By chance. His first case was helping deliver a jewel encrusted dildo from the rectum of a 250-pound guy. He was at the business end when it crowned and was responsible for catching as the surgeons pushed from above. Labial hematoma. Couple had sexy times, then got into a fight. He kicked her in the crotch. This burst a blood vessel in the labia, which made it swell to the size of a large pear. That shit hurts. She used many colorful words to describe what she thought of him. A guy came into the emergency department because his ass hurt after his boyfriend was fisting him. It had torn his bowel. He had to get a colostomy. It wasn't like life-ending or anything. But imagine going to the ED after sex and getting told you're getting a fucking colostomy. My story but my mom's. She used to work in the oncology department of her hospital a while back. One day she comes home, sits me down, and says, "Syphilis in the eye. You always make sure your partner is clean. Don't take their word for it. I don't care what you do. Just, syphilis in the eye." That's all I needed to hear. Edit. Thanks for the silver kind stranger. I tried to explain to my mom someone liked her advice that much but she didn't really get it. She is appreciative though. Coworker was getting divorced. One night his soon-to-be ex called about something and she could tell he was having a bad day. So to cheer him up she told him all about how while she and her new boyfriend were having sex he shoved a dildo up her ass and it just got sucked up. After failed attempts to remove it they went to the ER where she got surgery to remove it. After surgery doctors sanitized the dildo and returned it to her. This story did not make him feel better. Countless cases of stuff stuck up the butt. Dildos, vibrators, cucumbers, toilet bowl brushes. If it's possible to get in the butt, someone has needed it surgically removed. Toilet bowl brush was the most shocking. However, the funniest was reconstructing a giant white, oddly realistic veiny cock on the back table to make sure they had pulled it all out. Edit. Pro tip. If you get something stuck up your butt, don't make up some fantastic story about naked light bulb changes. We know how it got there. You know how it got there. There's no shame in liking butt stuff. Just tell us your personal time went awry. 18-year-old kid had a cheap dildo break way up his ass. Was bleeding from his butt. Needed surgery. In my state you're not legally an adult until 19, so he had to call his mom for consent. And she demanded staying with him through his entire visit. Edit. His butt ate the entire dildo. Probably a solid 7-9 inches of plastic. Top 2 inches is what broke off. Also yes, the medical consent rules are screwy. Applies for sexual assault as well. Unless the parent was a suspected assailant. Broken penis. Dude's testicles were the size of grapefruits. I assumed the internal pudendal artery was pumping blood into them from somewhere. Was an MA then. Now in med school. Was a neat injury, but nothing we could do for him in urgent care. He needed surgery for sure. Did see a bottle stuck in a rectum x-ray as well. I'm not one to judge. Keep on freaking on. But don't put glass in your ass please.